Most caravans have far more solar than they actually need, while others run out of power almost every night. When you start researching caravan solar setups, you'll see systems ranging anywhere from 200 watts to well over 1000 watts. But how much solar does a caravan really need? In this video, we break it down using real power usage and typical caravan setups. This is A Quiet Spark, where we explore practical ideas and explain how things work. Before choosing solar panels, the most important thing to understand is how much power your caravan actually uses. Most caravans run on a 12-volt system powered by a battery. That battery is usually measured in amp hours, which tells us how much energy it can store. Solar panels recharge that battery during daylight hours. So the real question isn't just how much solar you have, it's how much energy you use each day. Let's look at a few typical examples. LED lighting inside a caravan might use around 10 to 20 watts, which usually only adds up to a few amp hours per day. A water pump might draw 40 to 60 watts, but it normally runs only briefly. A 12-volt compressor fridge is usually the biggest power user. Depending on conditions, it might consume around 30 to 50 amp hours per day. Some caravans use absorption fridges instead of compressor fridges. These typically run on gas when off-grid, which means they use very little battery power. If you also run things like phone chargers, a laptop, fans, a diesel heater, or even a television, your total daily usage might end up somewhere between 40 and 80 amp hours per day. That number is the key to sizing your solar system. But there's also a common mistake many caravan solar setups make, and we'll come back to that shortly. Solar panels are rated in watts, but the energy they generate over the day depends heavily on sunlight conditions. A rough rule of thumb is that solar panels produce the equivalent of about 4 hours of full output per day. So for example, a 200-watt solar system might generate roughly 50 to 65 amp hours per day under good conditions. A 400-watt system could generate around 100 to 130 amp hours per day. And a 600-watt system could produce even more. In the real world, factors like wiring losses, temperature, and solar controllers mean you rarely get the full rated output of a solar panel. Output also depends on things like weather, shading, panel angle, time of year, and where you are in the country. Solar output is rarely consistent throughout the day. Let's look at some typical caravan setups. Around 200 watts of solar is enough for very light power use. This might include running a compressor fridge, basic lighting, and charging phones. In good weather, this can be enough for short off-grid stays, but cloudy days can quickly drain your battery. Around 400 watts is where many caravanners find the sweet spot. This setup can comfortably support a compressor fridge, lighting, device charging, and occasional use of a television or laptop. For many people, 400 watts provides reliable off-grid power in most conditions. Once you reach 600 watts or more, you start to gain real flexibility. This allows you to support heavier device use, longer off-grid stays, and multiple cloudy days. Many modern caravans now include systems in this range. But more solar also means higher cost, more roof space, and more system complexity. Solar panels are only half the system. Your battery capacity determines how much energy you can store for use overnight. For example, a 100 amp hour battery provides limited storage, and with traditional lead acid or AGM batteries, you typically only use about half of that capacity if you want the battery to last. Lithium batteries can usually provide much more of their rated capacity, which is one reason they've become so popular in caravan systems. A 200 amp hour lithium battery can comfortably support most caravan setups. With enough battery storage, your solar panels simply need to replace what you used the day before. That's the goal of a balanced system. For many caravans, the ideal setup ends up being somewhere between 300 and 500 watts of solar paired with a decent lithium battery. This provides enough energy for a fridge, lighting, charging devices, and typical daily use, while still allowing some margin for cloudy weather. Of course, every setup is different, but understanding your daily power use makes it much easier to design the right system. Earlier, we mentioned a common mistake many solar setups make, and I've seen this quite often. That mistake is installing a large battery bank without enough solar to recharge it. Caravan solar doesn't need to be complicated. Once you understand how much power you use each day, it becomes much easier to choose the right setup. And often, the ideal system is simpler than many people expect. So if your caravan uses around 60 amp hours per day, your solar system needs to generate roughly that much energy during daylight hours to stay self-sufficient. If you enjoy exploring practical ideas like this, consider subscribing. And if there are other topics you'd like to see covered, let me know in the comments. This is A Quiet Spark, ideas worth understanding.